Hi everyone, welcome to the Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Teddy Atlas III, joined as always, my father, Boxing Hall of Famer, the legend, Teddy Atlas. How you doing, bud?
Good, bud. You're downstairs in the basement again. I'm sorry, but it won't be long till you'll be back up here. And then in a couple days you go back to Vegas, so we'll miss you. But you'll be with your main man, Teddy, little Teddy the Fourth. I know he's missing you. I know you sacrifice a lot to be here, to be away from him, and that's always appreciated. So, even though I don't say it enough, but it's very appreciated. I know how hard it is to be away from him. I know how hard it was when I was in training camp all the time. When you guys were little, you and Nicole, how hard it was to be away from you guys. So, and tomorrow you stayed for the golf outing. We have our Foundation's golf outing tomorrow at the Richmond County Country Club. It's sold out, thankfully. And you're going to be there. You're going to be showing your stuff. You're a good golfer. Obviously, people wouldn't know that, but you're a good golfer. I know you don't get to play a lot. It's the kind of game that if you're not playing a lot, obviously it erodes your game probably more than any other game. I mean, the skill set is so contingent on regular play. Everything is, but I would say golf maybe a little more, that you got to play a lot to really be at the peak of your game. And so anyway, you'll be there. You'll be playing with everybody. That'll be a nice day. Hopefully, the weather looks like it's going to be good, so that's going to be nice. And then before we launch this off, I just wanted to again say that we've been having good success on our new platform. That you not only started and came up with the idea of it, but you structured though. You built it. I mean, you built it no differently than if you were a contractor going out there and building houses. Instead of houses, you built this community on the ropes, and it's called The Ropes actually. And we've been getting subscribers that have been coming. We've already done our first virtual training with a really good man from Jay from Chicago. That went well. We got our first in-person training session coming up next week, in a little over a week actually, coming up, a man coming in here to train in person like I just said, and all the things that you have available on the platform. I mean, the people can go and they can see it. They can see what's available, Q&A, sending in videos. So I break them down, live streaming. We got our first live streaming coming up soon. I'll let you, kind of talk about that yourself when you want. But the point I'm making is that we've launched it, and you did a heck of a job putting it together. It's impressive. I mean, I know I don't give enough, I don't always, give enough credit for such things, Not that I assume anything or I take anything for granted, but I do, I guess I expect you, whatever you do, to be good. You were 15 years in NFL, and I know what you did there. So I guess I wasn't shocked that you could put this together the way you did and create what you create. Anyone out there, even if you don't want to join, subscribe, take a look at it. Tell me if I'm wrong, if it isn't impressive the way it's laid out, the way it's constructed, the infrastructure of the whole thing. Anyway, that's enough for that. We didn't have a lot of fights 2 weeks in a row. We don't have a lot of fights to really talk about, but we will talk about what was out there because we want to bring you everything. That we pride ourselves in being consistent, being here every week. And if there was a fight on a platform, we're going to try to find it. And some of them are hard to find. Let me tell you, we found one on ProBox this week. That ain't easy to find. Last week we had to go to Facebook. Wait, are you kidding me? Facebook? Teddy Atlas on Facebook? No, but my son directed me there. And you know me, if my son doesn't do it for me and put it right in front of me, I'm hapless. So thank God that I have you. We did a UFC fight over the weekend too, and then we're gonna do some nice previews of fights coming up next week. And they are interesting. They sure as heck are. So without further ado, here we are on a Sunday, on a football Sunday. I hope you guys appreciate we're giving up our football Sunday for you guys, but we're not going to give up Teddy's mom's sauce and meatballs and pasta. We're not going to give that up on Sunday. We will have that later, but we are giving up the football games.
No, absolutely. We're going to start off just like you said on Pro Box. Now, you touched on the ropes, so I just want to play off of that a little bit for a second here. A lot of people might not have been aware of this fight or some of the fighters that we're about to discuss that fought on Pro Box, but you touched with the ropes community. Our community helped lead us to this. We have real fight fans in there, and one of them, Matt Borgerson, he said this should be a good fight because it's an interesting prospect. And we listened, we took a look, we watched it. There was no other boxing anyway. So thank you, Matt. And again, thank you for all the members in the community there at the ropes. So let's get it underway, bud. Najee Lopez versus Kelvin Henderson. This is a battle of light heavyweights. Now, Najee Lopez, undefeated prospect coming in. Guy with a lot of amateur fights, 200 amateur fights. And this was a step up. Kelvin Henderson is 35 years old now. He's a journeyman. He's 19-3-1. He was stopped once in his career, and that was versus David Morrell. Morrell did it in 4 rounds. So we wanted to see if Lopez is a real prospect, would he do it in similar fashion? And he did. He did it in 5 rounds. 1 more round longer than Morrell. Started off very disciplined, very patient, Lopez did. And then he started to open things up, and then he got him out of there in the 5th round. Just want to get right into your thoughts. What'd you think of this one? And what do you think of Najee Lopez? Is he a real prospect?
Yeah, like you said, bud, you rounded it off really nice. You set it up on the tee. All I got to do is tap it because it's right there for me to tap after you put it the way you did. First of all, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Same thing you said. I was looking to see, is he comparable to what Morrell did. Morrell, gold medalist, won a world title after a few fights. And he did it in the same, in the same ballpark of time, but probably a different way. Now, first thing, you asked me the question, let me answer it. Is he a prospect? Yeah. Not because he's 15-0 with 12 knockouts, he's 26 years old. He hasn't been tested yet. Yeah, this was a step up supposedly, but I go by the eyes. Nothing is more important to me than eye test. As it turned out, Kelvin, it's partly Lopez that is the reason, but Kelvin Henderson was not a test. So I still want to see him tested. To me, it goes to the analogy, bud, the same one that I use a lot of times in these cases, where Lopez is that beautiful looking car in the lot. Beautiful. I mean, white walls. Get that music going. Gangsta white walls. Let's get some music, Rich. Can we get that going? Oh, man, that's a nice song. He's that car. Perfect paint job. The twin dual mufflers, the everything. It looks beautiful. Let's get it on the highway. Let's get it on the highway, get it up to 80, 85, 90, and let's see what is under the hood. So I think there's a lot under the hood. Definitely a lot of horsepower, but let's see how it handles the roads when the roads get a little longer. A little, start to get some turns on those roads. That's where Lopez is for me, for the scouting part of me. He's a prospect. His talent jumps out, screams at you. He can punch. He's technically solid. He controls range beautifully. He's got a great jab. He's got a good IQ, it looks like. The jab sets the table. He puts punches together. He can go inside. He went inside a little bit after controlling the outside early on, making sure the coast was clear for the first few rounds. Wanted to make sure he wasn't going to walk into anything with Henderson. And then once he got a good feel for Henderson and the scouting report was done, he went and got him. Goes to the body, mixes up nice array of punches, nice repertoire of punches. He doesn't waste anything. Very deliberate with a capital D. That's good. That means he's smart. He's not going to walk into some. He sets traps. He can lead off the jab. Like I said, you make a little mistake, he counters you. He's got the speed. I mean, the guy's a prospect. He's a blue ribbon talent. It looks like. I wanna do our man Dicky Vitale. Diaper dandy, baby. We got to do a little Dick Vitale. How can you not throw Dick Vitale in there when you're talking about a top prospect? He's a top prospect. We will see. Time will tell. The test is yet to come.
No, absolutely. Well said. Couldn't agree more. And that wasn't a test. I mean, to your point, we don't follow those stats too often because they could be a little misleading or inaccurate at times. It is humans, after all, doing it. But to not land one punch in the second round, that's zero resistance, right? I just also want to say...
My question is, how many did he throw? But go ahead.
Right? But, I was just going to say that, you got to give credit to the platform in Pro Box that we get to see this prospect because people might be familiar with prospects in the same weight class like a light heavyweight of a Ben Whitaker who gets a lot of exposure, and rightfully so, silver medalist in the Olympics. But a guy with similar amount of fights and a guy like Najee Lopez, if it's not for Pro Box, we're not talking about him right now. And he deserves to be talked about because I agree with you. He looked like a serious prospect in a division with a lot of talent, and I look forward to watching him again.
His body looks good, everything. I mean, he's physically fit. He's got low body fat. I mean, he's cut up. I mean, there's nothing not to like right now, at least.
That's right. All right. Well, that was all of the boxing action from this weekend that we're going to recap. But we're going to recap now and switch gears to the UFC. We had a UFC fight night that was in Perth, Australia, and it was the light heavyweights. We had New Zealand's number 3 ranked light heavyweight, Carlos Ulberg, fighting the number 7 ranked light heavyweight, Dominic Reyes. Both guys similar in age, Ulberg 34, Reyes 35. And I thought, Bud, that the commentators you give a lot of credit to all the time. I see why, and they did an unbelievable job with this one. It didn't last long, but it didn't take them long to figure it out. Wasn't much going on in the opening minutes, but they made the observation and the point that Ulberg was getting closer and to that range, and this is not good for Reyes because Ulberg might land soon. And sure enough, fast forward a few minutes later, and boy did he land. Not sure what Reyes was thinking jumping in the way he did, not even set to punch, and walks right into a beautiful 1-2 by Ulberg, a devastating knockout, a huge statement win by Carlos Ulberg. He might have put himself in position, we shall see, but with that statement, he might be the next man up for next week's UFC 320 main event, the light heavyweight rematch versus Ankalaev and Pereira. Just want to get right into it. Your thoughts? What'd you make of this one?
He's going to be the next man up. He's got to go through some tough men to bypass them because, man, those couple of next men up, it's a pretty impressive list. He would have to pass up some really impressive guys, but he put himself in position to make that a possibility with this signature win, with this loud win, the way that he did. And you're right. I hate to say it, it's my sport. I've been in 50 years, but for the most part, I'd have to rate the commentators, especially the color commentators, the ones that are supposed to be the experts telling you what's happening, what's going to happen. I'd have to rate the ones on UFC better than on the whole in boxing. I'm sorry. I mean, there's some good ones in boxing, but on the whole, I mean, if you really go down the pike and you look at them week in and week out, look, one thing is, the UFC pretty much rotates their B and their A group, right? They got their A group. They got their boxing. You got guys from all over. I mean, there's more shows. You don't know who.
One thing to that.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
UFC's,
boxing.
But the
thing
UFC,
with boxing, Bud,
they make their best commentators
guys
work.
Better. What's that, Bud?
They let their best commentators work. The best commentator in the world, I'm staring at him, and he's not on a network. And that's why their commentators are better. They let them tell the truth where boxing wants to muzzle it.
No, I didn't want to
interrupt you, but as you said those were my feelings that I feel to my toes.
I didn't want to lead you into that, Bud. I know that's all love and thank you. But listen, I'm not looking to go there, to be honest, at all. I'm just saying that I always try to say what I believe and what I see for the fans out there. I feel like that's supposed to be my commitment to do that and my job to do that. Yeah, listen, there is an excuse a little bit because with boxing, you have all different promoters. In UFC, you got one. You got Dana White putting it together, and he overlooks the talent in everything, in the cage and behind the mics. So it's more controlled, and it's very competitive, even with the commentators. So he puts the best of the best in, again, whether it's in the cage or behind the mic. Boxing is different. It's freelancing. You got a whole bunch of different promoters. You got the high-end promoters. You got the middle ones. You got guys that are the Johnny-come-latelys that are doing little shows here and there. And sometimes you get good commentators. I said that already. And sometimes you're not, you're not getting the pick of the litter. Let's put it that way. Let's be nice. You're not getting the pick of the litter. You're getting some guys that aren't the best, that aren't really giving you what you would hope that somebody in that position that's a responsible position, would be giving you. But Dominic Cruz and Paul Felder, I think they were the ones on this one. They did a hell of a job. And I mean, Dominic Reyes, you got to feel, I'm not saying you feel bad, but man, after he never quite got there, did he, Bud, to live up to what he had people thinking after that performance against the great John Jones, right? I mean,
that's a common theme. A lot of guys are never the same after being in there with John Jones.
Isn't that an interesting point? When you fight a guy like that, and you fight someone that good, that special, right? That damaging in the way that he can be, you might get ruined. Not everyone did, but I'm just saying, when that is part of the signature calling card of the greats, that after you fight him, you might not be, you might not live up to the promise. You might put it all together for one night against that great fighter, but then all of a sudden never have anything close to that night again. And Reyes never really had anything close to that night again. And again, people was so up on him. How could you not be? But he fell short off of that expectation from that night. Anyway, getting back to Ulberg. Ulberg, I tell you, he showed me the blueprint and the proper approach with that blueprint, that if he did fight Pereira, he'd have a shot, because he was cautiously aggressive. He was very gradual about his aggression. He was very, very controlled and defensively aware. He wasn't reckless. He was just very deliberate. You have to be. That's why Ankalaev had the success he did with Pereira in their first fight. He was deliberate. He was cautiously aggressive. You can't make mistakes with Pereira. You get caught with the counter. That's one of his strengths, especially that counter left hook. So he did show me that if he is next up with Pereira, that he's got a shot. He's got the right idea, the right style, the right mentality. finish up on this one. Listen, Dominic Reyes was moving around, trying to keep Ulberg off balance. I understand. He was trying not to let him get set. Ulberg's a good puncher, good striker. He was keeping him. And then all of a sudden, when he finally did decide, this is what I don't understand. When he finally, you don't either, because we watched it together. When he finally did decide, okay, this is the moment, I'll pick my spot, I'll attack. I mean, he just did it so recklessly. He did it so amateurishly. I was shocked. Like he came in on the wrong foot. He didn't come in behind a jab. There was no feint. There was no knock on the front door, and then come in the side door or knock on the front door, get the counter out of the way, and then come in safely and cleanly. He just launched himself. It's like he tripped it. It's like somebody at your door, and you open the door and they trip coming in. They trip coming in and they fall right down in your foyer. You say, Jesus, how hard were you knocking? When I opened the door, you fell down. You could have just came in. I wasn't gonna bite you. When he finally had that moment of attack, he came with Ulberg ready, set, and then he just came in so wide open. And he got caught the 1-2. I mean, he got, it was simple work. It was basic work. It's like he actually did the work for Ulberg. I said to you earlier, you set it up on the tee. Now all I have to do is hit it. He set it up on the tee. And Ulberg hit it out of the park.
He did. You hit it out of the park with that breakdown. And it wasn't just the 1-2 on the feet. He gave him another 1-2 while he was laying on the canvas. That was vicious. That was scary.
That's why those refs got to be, the boxing too. I always say it, but man, they got to be really in the right position, alert at all times. These guys are dangerous. They're dangerous.
Yeah, no question. And you touched on it earlier and alluded to some of the big guys that, for Ulberg to get this opportunity, that he'd have to pass up. And we're going to see them next week as well on that same card we talked about. And we're going to preview here in a second the main event for. But that's Yuri is ranked number 2 at light heavyweight. And Khalil Roundtree ranked number 4. So we will see how that plays out. And then Ulberg will find out what's next for him.
You said it earlier. Let me just piggyback off that. You said it earlier, bud. That is a really fun division. That is a exciting, talent-ridden division.
And we're going to get more into that division and touch on this preview here in a second. Before I do, I just want to give a quick pause. Thank today's sponsor, Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens introduces the new AG1 Next Gen. It now includes 5 clinically studied probiotic strains shown to support digestive and immune health with added vitamins and minerals. They've also now have new travel pack designs resulting in a much easier pour to improve the customer experience. So whether you guys are looking to boost your energy levels, support your immune system, or address gut health, Athletic Greens is the way to go. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/atlas to claim your special offer of 10 free travel packs with your first purchase. All right, bud. There they are, Athletic Greens. And we're going to get right into our preview for UFC 320 main event. Magomed Ankalaev, Alex Pereira. It's the rematch. Pereira is going to enter this one now as a 2-1 underdog. He's 38 years of age. He's coming in now as the challenger. And the last time they fought was in March, about 6 months ago. Ankalaev won, unanimous decision. And Ankalaev's lone defeat came in 2018. He hasn't lost in 14 fights since. Can Pereira be the one to do it and get back his belt? Want to hear your thoughts. Preview.
Look, he beat the boogeyman. Can he beat him again? Papiano. What's the name, bud? Give me the right.
Samsonite. No, Baba Yaga, right?
Baba Yaga. See, you got an edge on me. You're married to a Ukrainian woman.
Before you say that, I'm not 100% certain I said that right. I should, because I am married to a beautiful Ukrainian, my beautiful wife. But yeah, I think it's Baba Yaga.
Yeah, we're talking about John Wick. Obviously, people know that I love the movies, and John Wick is one of those action movies. You can't get better. So he beat Baba Yaga, or whatever his name is, but he beat him, and the way he did it, he took away his secret weapon. He took away his really. He took away his best thing, and a lot of people, I don't know if they understood. He figured out the right blueprint, the right way to go about it, the right approach. And what he took away, I know you can talk about his leg kick, his lead leg kick. That's the first thing. Ankalaev better make sure his legs are ready. Because in the first fight, Pereira almost broke his legs. But then he started, avoiding them, checking them better. But Pereira will try that again. Try to take away Ankalaev's lead leg, which is what he was starting to do and doing in their first fight. But Ankalaev was able to sustain himself. He was able to survive it, get around it, and then take charge when he had to. The key was he took away Pereira's counterpunching ability. Yeah, he's got a great left hook. Yeah, he's got great legs. Yeah, he's got power, natural power. He was a kickboxer. But he took away his number one item, the counter left hook, where he gets you to reach, make a mistake, get over anxious, get over your skis a little bit, where your head gets in front of your legs. And then he puts the lights out. That's how you beat him. That's how Ankalaev beat him. He backed him up slowly. He backed him up with slow, cautious, proper aggression. Backing him up, keeping him off, keeping him a little off balance, keeping him defensive, but never giving him anything to counter. He did it, and he's a southpaw, Ankalaev. He did it in a very deliberate, smart, buttoned-up, technical way. He's got to do it again. There's no room for mistakes with Pereira. I might throw a wrinkle in here if I was Ankalaev's team and say throw a feint in once in a while. Throw a feint in once in a while. But he will have to do the same thing. He won. If he does the same thing, I think he wins again. Here's where Pereira, this is the analytical part you're looking for out there. Pereira's got to do two things. He's got to use his jab more. He didn't use his jab. He's got to use his jab more. It's a great jab. It's long, it's hard. And being that he's fighting a southpaw, I think he's going to have to go to work and not depend on the left hook. It ain't there. If it ain't there, this guy ain't reaching. So I don't know if it's going to be there. So you got to go to really what I always labeled as the southpaw killer. Go to the right hand. I know we know him as the left hook, but he can punch with either hand. Go to the right hand. Use the jab more. Set up the right hand. Look for that. And don't go straight back. That's one of his flaws, Pereira. Yeah, even the great Pereira got flaws. We all do. I got a couple too, but he'll go straight back on a line. Not one step, two, three. And if you go with him, it's a catch-22. Because if you go with him, you can hit him. You can hit him. But if you go with him a little fat, a little reckless, you're going to get freaking counted. That's where the catch-22 comes in. You go with him, but got to go with him. Crossing your T's, dotting your I's. So there it is for me. I'm going with Ankalaev again, but I think that's a pretty good breakdown. I wanted to do it, I wanted to do it like this, nice and neat.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to throw at you off of that. I agree with you with Pereira using the jab, but is he tentative to use the jab because then he leaves openings for more opportunities to shoot and take him down? He doesn't want to be on the ground, Pereira. We always talk about father time, and you never know. Sometimes you could just get old in that ring, and sometimes the great ones could have one last great one in them. He's 38 years old now, Pereira, coming into this one.
No, Pereira defends the takedown pretty good, but he ain't winning on the floor. That's for sure. And if Ankalaev don't get him on the floor, he'll kill the clock. He'll kill the clock by pinning him up against the cage. He'll kill time. In other words, he'll do what you'd used to do to beat Tom Brady. You keep him on the bench. And you keep Pereira in his offense and range for that offense. You keep it on the bench. Well, better said, you keep it against the cage. And that is smart. And he'll do that. To answer your question, yeah, you got to use the jab, but you got to use it from full range, the right range, full extension. Got to use it from the right range. You use it from too close, you're right, 100%. He'll counter you, or he'll get into your legs and grab you with the takedown because you let him get too close. You got to make sure that jab is used properly, which is at the right range, the right distance.
This is the last one I want to throw at you in regards to that fight. We always talk about, and you talk about that, the fight game, boxing, UFC too, at least 75% mental, right? And couldn't agree more. Now, I say that because with Alex Pereira, we talked about it in the past. He's one of the biggest intimidators there is, right? From the face-off at the weigh-in with the war paint and the face paint to the unbelievable entrance he makes with his ring walk and then the stare down, ice cold across the ring. I think that may have affected some guys in the past. But here comes the rematch. Is that lost now? Is part of his aura and his invincibility or his advantages taken away? Where Ankalaev, he felt it. He beat it. It's not there now.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a beautiful point. I think that's more than valid. That's astute on your part to go there, to bring that out. Yeah, it didn't work. He already, the kryptonite didn't work. You know what I mean? Superman went into a booth. He got something figured out, and he got an anti-kryptonite suit on. It didn't work. He went into the fire. The only difference this time, his opponent, Ankalaev, had an asbestos suit. The laser stairs don't go through that. Ankalaev's from a region of the world where that stuff isn't as likely to, that intimidation and what you described isn't as likely to use or to be useful or to be effective with people from that region. They're a little harder. They've seen some stuff that has kind of gotten them ready for that, has hardened them for that, has fire tested them, as we talk about, and made them oblivious to that. Where they're not affected by that the way someone else. So, yeah, I think that advantage is may be gone. I couldn't agree more. It's a good point.
Now, it's going to be interesting. If you want to hear more points of Teddy's on this fight live during this fight, come check out the Ropes community. We touched on it in the intro, but Teddy's going to be on there. We're going to do a Q&A for a poll that the members voted on, and then we're going to watch the fight with him. We're not doing the commentary. It's not going to be a fight companion. Just going to be in there to hang out with the guys. But at the end of the month, October 25th, come back, and we will have Teddy doing live fight companions, and that'll be in boxing. The first one we'll be doing for the Ropes, and that'll be Wardley versus Parker, the heavyweights. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there for those that want to hear Teddy's thoughts on this fight live. Come check out the Ropes. We'll be doing it October 4th, Saturday night.
And the reason we're doing Wardley and Parker, and that's what's so beautiful about the way you set this up, bud. Our community voted on it. It was their pick. Well, contrary to what some people that think they know Teddy Atlas Jr., me, contrary to that thinking, I do believe in democracy. I do, for the most part, especially if you agree with me. Then yeah, I'm all stars and stripes, baby. Yeah, but there's a little bit of that dictatorship mentality in me sometimes that I like. I'm a stubborn son of a gun. I like it my way and what I believe. But no, we let them vote. The people voted, These people have spoken, and it will be, that's an interesting fight. We'll get into it at the right time, but man.
No, absolutely. For now, we're going to get into the co-main event coming up next week at UFC 320, and that's the machine. That's Merab Dvalishvili. I wish he was here right now, bud. I said that one pretty good this time. I had him live on, and I dropped the ball. He wasn't too pleased with the way I pronounced his name, but I've been practicing, champ. So he's going to defend his title, the bantamweight title versus Cory Sandhagen. I can't wait for this fight. I can't see how this isn't going to be a great fight. A long time coming for Cory Sandhagen. He's earned it the hard way, just like Merab did. We've talked about it in the past, and you always say about being forged in the fire. These guys in the UFC, they get forged. They take some losses, they get back on track, they stick at it, and he's earned it. Just like Merab earned it. He's also a high motor guy. Very interesting matchup. Obviously, Cory Sandhagen is much taller, about 5'10", 5'11". Merab is a shorter man, around 5'5" or 5'6". Very intriguing stylistic matchup. And I touched on Ankalaev, but that Ankalaev has not lost since 2018, where he's won 14 fights since. Well, Merab, since 2017 and 2018, where he had back-to-back submission losses, he hasn't lost since 2018. 13 wins in a row. I think probably already the greatest bantamweight champ. We love Dominic Cruz, and what a career, what a champion, what a fighter. But Merab is still going, and if not, maybe with this defense, maybe then, if not already, he might be the greatest. Just want to hear your thoughts, preview, prediction. Merab versus Sandhagen.
Yeah, Dominic Cruz, not only a Hall of Fame fighter and greatest bantamweight of all time, with Merab now banging at the door, like you said, but he's going to wind up being a Hall of Fame commentator when his career is over. He's that good. He
I
is
couldn't agree
that
more. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's that good. He really is. Yeah, listen. First thing, Merab 20-4, Sandhagen 18-5. These guys earned their stripes. You know, these guys, like you said, they were forged in the fire. You got to lose to win sometimes. These guys, by losing those fights, it didn't set them back. It set them ahead. It gave them what they needed to get to the top. It gave them the experience, the knowledge, the feeling of losing. It gave them a barometer, a compass for where they were trying to go, which was to the top, to Mount Olympus. And when you fight the kind of fighters they fought, they're right in. That's the one thing about the UFC. They were forced early to find out, is this for me? And if it is, what do I got to change? What do I got to do? Where do I got to get better? And you can only get better when you're fighting the best. I mean, you hear it when you're a kid. You hear parents talking about their kids and saying, yeah, my kid's in, I got him in this division. He's whatever sport, and he's in there with older kids, but he's learning. And, of course, we don't want him to get discouraged, but he's learning. And then when he plays with kids his own age and size, all of a sudden, you're going to see the benefit. It's kind of like that theory along those lines a little bit. It works similar to that by fighting the level they did and taking the risk they did early in their career, they became the kind of fighters that they wanted to be right from the beginning. In other words, they got the kind of fights it took to get better. And that's what it's about. Yeah, you want to be a champion, but the first thing, your first goal is this: I want to improve. I want to become a better fighter. How do you improve? How do you get to that place where one day you can be up on Mount Olympus? By fighting better guys. That's what they did, both of them. And Merab fits my saying perfect, doesn't he, bud? When you win the title, you get 30% better. You're going to tell me he didn't look 30% better in a rematch with O'Malley? You're going to tell me that? You're going to tell me that? No, you're not. Because if you do, I'm going to shout you down. He was 30% bad. Now I notice the UFC guys in the box, they use what I say. They do. It's all right. It's good. It's no problem. I didn't get a patent on it. It's no problem. I'm not charging them nothing for that. But 30, the proof is in the pudding. You can see it. Winning the title, Merab got better. And I think that he's in the best place. You just said it, 13 wins in a row. I mean, that speaks for itself. He's in the best place he's ever been right now. He feels like he's unbeatable right now. But I'll tell you one other thing that makes this interesting. I think Sandhagen is in a real good spot right now. I think he's feeling pretty good with all the experience. I think he's feeling like this is the time. If it's going to be, this is the time that he's starting to feel like the stars are aligned. His experience, everything he's been through, that he's hitting on all cylinders right now. That makes for an interesting fight. I'll break it down real quick. Merab should be the favorite. First of all, he's physically superior, a little bit stronger. Just if we're going to go into that, it's not always about that, but just pure physical strength. He is better on the floor. You don't need me to tell you. He's a monster on the floor, on the mat. But Cory Sandhagen is he's well-rounded. He is really dimensional. He wouldn't be able to match Merab on the floor, but I tell you one thing, he can survive on the floor. Well, maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. But he doesn't want to be there. But he's got a damn good takedown defense. He knows how to scuttle on the floor. He knows what he's doing. Again, Merab is the man there. We get that advantage. So where does Sandhagen have his chance? Striking. Avoiding takedowns. Keeping range, doing what using the physical advantage that you touched on of length and size, height, use his legs, keep Merab. I know O'Malley couldn't do it. I know it's going to be, I get it, I understand. But Cory, that would have to be the ticket if there's going to be a ticket to winning a title. To use his legs, to strike, to show to show that dimension. Maybe he's got a little edge with the striking. Merab's gotten better with the striking. Sandhagen has to be better. He's got to fight his best striking fight ever. And Merab has gotten better, but it's still a little more raw. It's a little, like his punches will have a little width on him sometimes. He will get a little fat. He will sometimes throw really not mix them up. He'll throw the same punches, at you, where there'll be just, lefts and rights coming at you. There won't be a lot of change of direction or mixing up of the order of them or the repertoire of them. It'll be pretty standard, power shots coming at you. I'll tell you what he's damn good at, Merab, though. With those power shots, he forces you back with his pressure, and then he catches you as you go back. He's a genius at that. It's no accident. I watched him against O'Malley. We were there in person. Why? And I was working that fight for ESPN. So he's really good at that. But Sandhagen, again, his assortment of punches might be a little better. They're going to have to be better. He's going to have to stay on his feet. He's going to have to mix it up. He's going to have to get Merab to reach a little bit, do some counter-punching. Merab has become so good with his legs on control and range where he can go out and then in. He's become so good. And his pressure, I mean, he is the ever, he's got to get a commercial. Our man Rey is the greatest coach. He's our friend. He's the best. Ray Longo. You got to get him an ever-ready commercial. I mean, he's that ever-ready bunny. He never, ever, ever wears out. He is always going all the time. I don't know if he's got a charger somewhere in the corner that recharge. I don't know. But with that pressure, that's what he relies on. He's going to break you down. He's going to break you down. He's going to weigh your will. He's going to break your will, and he's going to break you physically. He's going to weigh you down. That's what Sandhagen's got to deal with. He can't get worn down. He's got to keep control on the outside. He's got to give angles, keep Merab off balance. He's got a pot shot. He's got a counter punch. He's got to fight a perfect fight. It's going to be, we'll find out. Who am I going with? I got to go with Merab.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that because I could never go against Merab. I think he's special. We touched on in the lead-in. The greatest to do it at bantamweight, in my opinion. He's a 3.5 to 1 favorite heading into this one. That was a special breakdown, special preview. And he is, you're right, the Energizer Bunny. But that's why I'm also so interested, because Sandhagen, his motor don't stop either, and it runs hot. This is going to be a good one. You got me excited to watch it right now. I can't wait. I hope all the viewers out there enjoyed the 2-fight recaps, the 2-fight previews. And before we sign off, I want to throw one more at you, switching back to the boxing world. Just real quick, we had a presser, and it was Tank Davis and Jake Paul. They did their first face-off live in person. They're going to be fighting November 14th as we get closer. We'll circle back with more analysis and preview and breakdown for that one from Teddy. That's going to be on Netflix, again, on the 14th of November. But with this presser, I mean, Tank, he looked like a little child standing next to him. I mean, we know he fought at 135 pounds. Jake Paul's obviously the much bigger man. But seeing him facing off like that, it was pretty telling in a lot of ways. But what was really telling for me, or really maybe caught me off guard, was did Tank look at the contract for this fight except for the zeros at the end of it and all the money he's going to get? They announced the fight that, as they announced them to the podium, that this fight will take place at 195 pounds. And Tank said, no, I didn't agree to that. I said 190. Not 195. I said 190.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a victor because the fighters have agreed and the commission has approved a maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know. Over 10 3-minute rounds. And when Tank and Jake enter the squared circle to go to battle, they will be wearing 12-ounce gloves. 3 commission-approved world-class professional judges will score every round to ensure there's a decisive outcome for the fight if it goes the distance. Both men are enrolled in the highest level of testing with USADA.
It's probably too late. The contract signed. Jake Paul, MVP. They're the A-side here running it, right? Not that Tank's not an A-side guy. We know he is. But they're the promoters here. They're the ones paying him. What'd you make of this? What'd you make of the face-off? Just want to hear your thoughts.
But remember, always read the small print. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying. But always read the small print, okay, people out there? Always, okay? And if you're not sure, then put your glasses on or get somebody to read it for you. No, look, I'm gonna say the only thing I can say, and you put it right there. Everything off of what we saw with the face-off for the promotion. The first thing I think about, you talked about the zeros in the contract. You talked about all those things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping. And it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him because I know he's an expert in this area. But it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky 3. I wrote it down, Rich. And Rich just gave me the thumbs up. And Rocky 3, man, Rocky 3.
My favorite out of all the Rocky movies, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Clubber Lang, wow. So that's what it made me think of. When they got in the center of the ring and you had Hulk Hogan, and it made me think of Paulie. When Paulie, God bless him, Burt Young, God bless him. He used to come to my foundation every year. And he, good man. But it made me think of him, Bud, when they were coming into the ring and Hulk was coming out. And Paulie says, "Why are they carrying him?" and Mickey, the great Mickey, the trainer, said, "They're not. They're not." Or somebody said it, whatever it was. But they're not carrying him. All right. Well, he's a big sucker.
He is quite a sight, all decked out in red.
Why are they carrying him?
He's walking.
So that's how stark it was. Like, really. And then you saw Rocky looking up to him. And, hey, can we get a picture afterwards, me and my kid? Can we get a picture afterwards? I like to get... And then he shoves him, Thunderlips. Good old Thunderlips. Yep. God bless Hulk Hogan, too.
Absolutely. That was awesome. Love that analogy, that example you used there. You're so right, and that was a perfect one to use. I was thinking of the Mike Tyson video game, the Punch-Out game with Little Mac, and you had to fight the other guys. That's what it looked like. That's what it felt like. But Little Mac, I used to pull through with him. We'll see if Tank could pull through and land that big punch on the chin, like you said. We'll follow back with more on that. We just want to touch, since it was just the presser. We hope you guys enjoyed this one, as always. Before we sign off here today, and hopefully catch some football for whatever is left. Any final thoughts, bud?
Yeah, I want to, Richie, my man here, Richie, our man Richie, who's like family now. I just want to shout out a happy birthday to his father, who had a birthday yesterday. I know he watches this. He better be watching it. Better be watching it. Every week. See, Richie is such a good guy. He goes every week. Every week. Hey, Richie's dad, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Limbacher. And enjoy the weekend, everybody. The rest of the weekend, we'll be back again with you next week. Please like, comment, subscribe. Until next week, thank you.